Hello and welcome, it's Frances here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. If you like the content, please feel free to subscribe and click on the button below and the little bell, and you'll be notified when I upload new content, which I tend to do on a rather ad hoc basis and also on a whole range of subjects because I do have a variety of interests. In this video, I just want to talk a little bit about our upcoming new moon. It will be in the astrological sign of Pisces, and here in Adelaide, South Australia, it will be taking place on Wednesday, the 3rd of March, at around about 4:04 in the morning. So a little bit of a disclaimer, I'm not an astrologer. I don't pretend to be an astrologer. I do have an interest in astrology, but largely through magical workings and also the lunar phases. And what I do in these videos is I sort of follow some of my favorite astrologers and sort of like glean bits and pieces out of their own reports which interests me, and I link the astrologers below so you can read their full descriptions of the various full moons and new moons and also other astrological events that I come across which is of interest. So a first site that I visited is Astrology King, and they mentioned that the new moon in Pisces is also going to be conjunct with Jupiter. So Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It's also a planet that's associated with good fortune. It encourages spiritual, material and personal growth with its very expansive nature, but it can also expand its negative attributes, which include greed, excess and also immortality. There is also a positive sextile with Uranus, or Uranus, I don't know how you pronounce it these days, which ensures that good intentions, prosperity, optimism and generosity is abound. So it's a good moon to expand your horizons, to work towards bettering yourself, to improve your health, wealth and happiness. And these can be achieved through long distance travel, if we're able to, higher education, so maybe going back to school or looking at some distance learning, business, philosophy, religion and spirituality. So it's a lot of sort of encouraging us to heighten our intelligence, focusing on broadening our mind, so to speak. Mercury is conjunct with Saturn, so there's a sense of seriousness and a reminder of heavy personal responsibility. And of course, we have still got Venus and Mars conjunct. So this is very passionate, very creative influences and energies. It could actually increase charisma, spontaneity, which could actually lead towards more socializing, especially for us introverts. And it's ironic, maybe it's not, but currently here in Adelaide, the festival season has commenced with both the Fringe and also the Adelaide Festival, enticing us outside and socializing a little bit more. The next astrologer I would like to mention is a local woman, local, and she's from Sydney. Her name is Pippa Kate. And I like her work because she does sort of focus on a little bit of a different aspect, and also she comes from a very spiritual background, or her posts are very spiritual. She talks a lot about sort of Buddhist philosophies through it. So she focuses on, this is a Piscean moon, calling us to step into the waters of our intuitive mind. This is what Pisces rules. And that part of ourself that speaks to our soul, that guides us through the energetic world that surrounds us. So her writing is very poetic, as you can tell. So a lot of people use new moons to start manifesting. So what we're putting into action now should come to the end, or we should see the conclusion of at the Piscean full moon, which will be taking place around about the 10th of September. So we're looking at a little bit longer term goals. So if you're wanting to sort of put manifestation towards higher education, improved health and wealth, that sort of thing. You should be seeing the results by the full moon in September. So this is a good time to be laying those intentions. Also hooking into that intuitive, emotional aspect that the logical mind doesn't necessarily see. She also reminds us that in the astrological cycle, the astrological wheel of the 12 signs, that Pisces is actually the last sign. And we will be heading into a brand new astrological cycle on the 20th of March when the Aries season commences. So it's almost like coming to an end. So this could be a lot of endings as well. But these endings may be, if we hook into that Piscean energy, that something may be coming to an end or may have finished, but we're looking back in reflection and seeing the ending of it, or our transgression through that event from a different point of view. We're sort of widening our perception when we're looking back at it. She also mentions that Piscean energy takes us deep into the mysteries of the universe, into the subconscious that lies within us all. So it rules the signs that our physical self cannot see, from the astral to the realm of the soul. It calls us to remember that there is a world existing beyond the rational mind, and we can tap into this realm through our dreams, through intuition, through meditation, and also through processes such as divination. She mentions Jupiter as well, the planet of good fortune, and also Kali the Destroyer is one of the asteroids that she connects with, and Kali destroys the ego or karma. So the two of those, the planet and the asteroid, are in alignment. So that they encourage us to explore our spirituality, to allow ourselves to dream, but also to see if we can push the limits of what we believe is possible for us at this time. So maybe start taking or considering taking a few chances in our life, especially after the last 2 years when we haven't been able to do anything. The other person that I would just like to mention is Molly McCord. I seem to follow her YouTube channel, and she does post a lot and on a whole range of astrological topics, so she's very interesting. She mentions that this new moon is in 12 degrees of Pisces, and that Jupiter will be 14 degrees of Pisces, so that's why they're conjunct. So Pisces is having its Piscean energy being expanded by Jupiter. And she sees this as creating a Piscean portal where we are complete within. It's the time to clear the slate, get rid of the things that we no longer want. And she asks, what will we put into the void that is created? So when we actually release stuff from our lives, tidy up all those loose ends, when we remove them from our life, we are left with a gap. What are we going to put in that gap? Something that is worthwhile considering. She also mentions that Jupiter will be taking on the energy of Neptune in April, and I haven't watched that video that she's put up about that, so I might just do a little synopsis of that in a later stage. But she does mention that the Piscean new moon is a field of contradictions. There's a new understanding into what has already been completed, and that's what I mentioned earlier about we're coming to the ending, what's reminding us or encouraging us to end things. And as we do that, we can reflect and look back and see whether we still hold those same views. Now she also talks about the personal planets. So the personal planets are largely the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus and Mars, and these tend to drive basic human drives of every individual, while the social or transpersonal planets are Jupiter and Saturn. So the personal planets Mercury, Mars and Venus are all conjunct. and they are all conjunct, I think, in Capricorn. I have to check that. And this means deep transformation, especially when they must be conjunct in Capricorn. My notes go on to saying that when the personal planets are conjunct with Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto removes before the rebirth. So Pluto is all about endings and to enable things to be reborn again, like this Piscean energy in the whole astrological wheel or cycle that we're in. It's at an ending. So there's something that we've been working through that is coming to an end and ready for its rebirth, or for something to be brought new into the future, whether it's spiritual growth or deep soul growth. Everything is connected and moving around. So we're coming to the end again of one cycle for another cycle to begin. And she asked another question. What are you finally ready to let go of, to allow the rebirth to occur? This could also be connected with past life energies. And she asked a further question. What are you now mastering? Quite a little bit of intense self-prompting then. So that's a little bit about this upcoming new moon. As I said, I'll list the astrologers that I've just talked about below, and I hope it gives you something to think about when you plan your upcoming new moon, right? Blessings.